In our experiment, we tested the effectiveness of different fertilizers on pea plants, specifically eggshells, banana peels, and coffee grounds. We hypothesized that banana peels would result in the most growth in the plant because it had the best amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. In our experiment, we had 5 pots which were filled with soil and a handful of pea seeds. 2 of the pots were designated control pots which received no fertilizer, while the other received 5 grams of fertilizer. We recorded the lengths of the plants every time they were watered and
or if we added fertilizer, which followed an alternative bi-weekly schedule where we would fertilize each of the plants Monday and Friday, or just Wednesday.
When faced with the problem of figuring out which fertilizer would lead to the best overall plant growth between 3 different fertilizers, we hypothesized that the plants using the banana peels as the fertilizer would grow the most, and the plants with the eggshells would grow the least, leaving the plants with the coffee grounds to grow at a rate somewhere in between the two. After overlooking the data, we discovered that our hypothesis was supported by our lab, as, on average, banana peels grew the most, coffee grounds grew the second most, and eggshells grew the least. As seen in figure 1, the top one, we have multiple dates along with the average heights of the plants under each fertilizer. Early on in the experiment, on March 10th, the average height of the plants using banana peels as fertilizer was 12.8 centimeters, while the plants using coffee grounds and eggshells were 9.5 centimeters and 9.7 centimeters respectively, meaning that the banana peels were on average 3.3 and 3.1 centimeters taller. The banana peels maintained a similar height advantage throughout the entire experiment, being 2.1 and 3.7 centimeters taller on March 31st, and 3 and 2.9 centimeters taller on April 17th. The plants that used the coffee grounds and eggshells often came pretty close to each other, even occasionally overlapping each other. However, coffee grounds usually maintained a 1 to 2 centimeter increase in height over the eggshells, with the eggshells only occasionally beating the coffee grounds by roughly 0.1 to 0.3 centimeters. An example of this was from April 4th to April 9th, where coffee grounds were in the lead by 1.2 centimeters, until the eggshells gained a sudden increase in average plant growth and managed to take the lead by 0.3 centimeters, maintaining that very slight lead until the end of the experiment, which didn't last for very long. Although usually small, there were some mistakes caused during the experiment which possibly led to errors in our data. One of these mistakes being that whenever we went to measure our plants, every once in a while we would grab the tip of the plant a little too hard, which would cause the very top of the plant to fall off, forcing us to either estimate what the height of the plant was before we ripped the top off, or just accept the new height. Even if it was only just a 1 centimeter difference, this small mistake would have lessened the overall height of the plants using that fertilizer, making it seem slightly less than what it should have been. Another mistake we made was not setting up the controls for the experiment at the same time as the fertilized plants, not letting them grow along with the other plants to be able to compare them. Although this was a bigger mistake on our behalf, it actually wasn't very important to the overall experiment, as the controls were not a part of the hypothesis. Rather, they were only there in case we spotted any major differences between the fertilized plants and the plants without the fertilizer. One last error was an oddity in the coffee grounds fertilizer. Although not necessarily our fault, it should be worth mentioning that one specific plant in the coffee grounds fertilizer pot grew to be significantly larger than all the other plants. As seen in figure 2, on March 26th, this plant was 29.1 centimeters tall, with the second tallest plant being only 21.7 centimeters tall. This means that the coffee grounds plant was the tallest plant by an entire 7.4 centimeters at the time, with the plant growing to be an additional 4.4 centimeters at 33.5 centimeters tall by the end of the experiment. This abnormally tall plant likely impacted the average plant height to be taller than what it normally would have been, with the true average plant height likely being closer to that of the eggshells.
Let's talk about why our experiment results of the different pea plants led to this conclusion. Out of the 3 overall fertilizers, banana peels by far held a strong lead in the overall average with an average of 23.5 centimeters compared to the eggshells and coffee grounds with a respectable 20.5 centimeters and 20.6 centimeters. So why did the banana peels have the highest average growth? When looking into the nutrient composition and impact of banana peels as an active fertilizer, we see that banana peels are rich in potassium, which helps the plants develop strong roots and overall vigor, making them more resistant to pests and diseases, as well as having a crucial function for water uptake and nutrient transportation within the plant, enhancing photosynthesis by regulating the stomata openings, supporting overall metabolic functions and its enzyme activity. The magnesium allows the pea plant to capture the sunlight for photosynthesis that aids in its food production. Phosphorus aids in the flowering and fruit production as it is essential for pollination, seed germination, and the plant's overall viability. The last nutrient in banana peels is calcium, which promotes root development and helps improve the soil structure. While banana peels are rich in nitrogen, they still offer the most well-rounded supply of nutrients and consistently promote plant growth and health. And it is due to their fast decomposition time added with the mold fungi that allows them to release their nutrients moderately fast into the soil. Our tallest plant yet and the third tallest plant on average is due to the fertilizer of coffee grounds, with a bulk of its nutrient composition being nitrogen. Nitrogen is a vital nutrient in all plants as it is responsible for the leaf and stem growth, chlorophyll production, and the boosting of cell division. Coffee grounds do also contain negligible amounts of phosphorus and potassium, and the pH might be slightly altered because of the coffee grounds being slightly acidic if the grounds do not become decomposed. Anomaly or what? Why was one of the plants much more significantly taller than the rest? The reason as to why a singular plant from the coffee ground pot was dramatically taller than the rest of the other plants was likely due to a nitrogen spike. If nitrogen is abundant in a pot or unevenly distributed / broken down, one plant may absorb more of it and shoot up quicker and taller, speeding its overall growth process, which is the likely explanation for this outlier. The inconsistency of the data for the coffee grounds are speculated to be caused by an uneven decomposition of the ground and caffeine's ability to suppress seedling growth and stunting plant growth. The last fertilizer that had the shortest peak but ranked second in terms of overall growth average was the eggshell. The main nutrient in the eggshell's composition is calcium carbonate, which helps form calcium pectate and is a key component of the plant's cell wall. Calcium acts as a signaling molecule within the plant, regulating various processes like cell growth, development, and stress responses. It is involved in enzyme activation, contributing to the importance of metabolic reactions and prevents diseases such as blossom and rot, which affects many plants that produce fruits. Although eggshells are rich in calcium, they lack the other essential micronutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and the breakdown of the eggshells is typically a month if left unpowderized. What led to its takeover on coffee grounds? The calcium provided by the shell had improved the plant's structural integrity that further supported steady but efficient growth. Another notable potential aspect that most likely led to its overtake was the addition of its pH, making it more alkaline and stable, reducing stress of the plant since pea plants generally prefer slightly more alkaline soil. This means that banana peels are the most balanced and consistent when it comes to macronutrients and is most ideal if you could use only one active fertilizer. Coffee grounds may proc potential growth extremes, but this is due to putting an imbalance onto the rest of the other plants. Eggshells offer support and structure but lack overall support of the other nutrients.